Hello and welcome back to more news you can use with and Lynne Herod-DeVerges. We've got another spectacular show for you that's going to help you climb to the next level of awareness. That's right. So thank you so much for joining the show today. That's right. You're here at More News You Can Use with and Lynne Herod-DeVerges. And guess what? If you want to be a celebrity on the show, just let us know and click the button below. And you'll be the guest celebrity on More News You Can Use with and Lynne Herod-DeVerges. Click the link. Click the link now. What another lovely day. What can I say? I am Lotus Richey, and I'm super happy to be here with More News You Can Use. And of course, we have a phenomenal guest today to help you really examine some things about you and what things on your body and things in your life say about you. So, as you know, I always say, go ahead and get your notepad and your pen. Why? Because it's always time to win with Lotus and Lynne here on News You Can Use. But most importantly, note takers are money makers. And we're not just talking about the greenbacks, the dead presidents, the stuff in your wallet. We're also talking about things that are like money, but not the greenbacks, just wealth. Wealth in your health and wealth in your life. And in every phase of your life, you can be wealthy. And we can help show you how. Why? Because your health is your wealth. So I'm going to go right on backstage and I'm going to get my friend Lynne. And so come on in, like, share, start a watch party, like, share, start a watch party, and go tell somebody that it's time for more news you can use with Lotus and Lynne. I'll be right back. Hello and welcome back to More News You Can Use with Lotus and Lynne Herod-DeVerges. We've got another spectacular show for you that's going to help you climb to the next level of awareness. That's right. So thank you so much for joining the show today. That's right. You're here at More News You Can Use with and Lynne Herod-DeVerges. And guess what? If you want to be a celebrity on the show, just let us know and click the button below. And you'll be the guest celebrity on More News You Can Use with and Lynne Herod-DeVerges. Click the link. Click the link now. All right. Hey there, Lynne. How are you, my friend?
Great. How are you? I am
doing great. Good to see you. So how's the weather out there in sunny California?
Actually, today it is, thank God, very nice, very pleasant. It's more in the, I'd say, mid to low 80s. So we're having beautiful weather. And
all right.
No more heat, no more perspiring too heavily.
Well, that's great. I'm happy that you're having some great weather. And we're having great weather here as well in Washington, D.C. It was really beautiful and sunny out today. And so that's some news that all of you can use if you're trying to get out. Don't hesitate. Get out, of course. Wear your protective gear, but get out and enjoy some of the sun while it's lasting, because we're almost into the winter months, huh, Lynne?
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Come, I often tell people in LA anyway, it can be 90 degrees on October 29th or 30th, whatever the day is before Halloween. And then Halloween, all of a sudden, people have on their cute costumes and they're ready to party, and it starts raining. So that's when we know that the weather has changed.
Exactly right. So not only is the weather changing, our lives are changing. Yes. And today we're going to be talking about a couple of things in regard to our lives. What is our purpose in life? Really, what's your life purpose? Do you know? And if you don't know, do you know how to get there? So we're going to discuss that today. And we've got uh, an amazing secret to share with you, but I'm not going to tell you the secret. Lynn can maybe tell you the secret when we come back from this quick break, because we're going to go get our guests. But if you want to know the secret to what we're going to be sharing, our special guest today, go ahead and put a number two. Number two, me and you, put a number 2 in the comment block below. And then we'll put Lynn in the hot seat and see if she'll tell you about some of the secret sauce we're going to have today. So, Lynn, we've got a phenomenal guest today. You know a lot about her.
Yes.
You want to tell them a little bit about her before we go and get her, or you want to wait till we go get her?
I think we should wait until we go get her. We'll keep everyone just a little bit longer, just a little bit longer.
Just a little bit. See, she's going to keep you guys in suspense a little bit longer. But Lynn, let's talk really briefly about why it's so important for people really to understand their life's purpose. After all, what is life's purpose, Lynn?
Yes, well, it's important to understand it because your life purpose actually is where your heart is. It's where your passion is. And I know that a lot of people have challenges sometimes really connecting with, well, what is my passion? What is it that I'm really here to do? And even if you don't know what your passion is, I often describe it like this. If there is something you love doing that you could do all day, all night, and not even get paid for, that's an indication of what your passion is. And from your passion, then you can start to define what your purpose is. So I remember a few years ago seeing a young woman, I don't remember her name, but there was a show that she was being interviewed on. And what her passion was plucking eyebrows. That was her passion. And I thought, well, okay, everyone has something they absolutely love. Well, she's loves it and a passion so much that she actually opened a shop in Beverly Hills, was doing eyebrows for all the celebrities, and from A to Z, no matter what industry they were in, she was making quite a bit of money and doing exactly what she loved, 100%. And that's when I realized everyone does have a purpose, and that purpose comes from your passion. So that's how I define it. Oh, we can't hear you.
So I said I love it. And with no further ado, we're going to kind of acknowledge you. So let's see who's with us today, Lynn.
Well, we have Angela Elting. Hi, Angie from DC, one of our favorites. Good to see you. And Harris Tay, another one of our great favorites, all the way from the Philippines. Hi, Harris.
All right.
And we have Henry Wald, also from Washington, D.C. He's obviously one of our great fans. Nice to see you, Henry. And we have Dr. Selena Pinashimo, my favorite doctors in the house.
Yes.
Always good to see you. Always great to see you.
All right. So, and you notice that she put a 2 down there, Lynn. You didn't say that, but she put a 2 down there. So you are in the hot seat to go ahead back into the studio and grab our celebrity guest. So, folks, you've asked for it, and we're going there because we're going to come back and talk about what is your life's purpose. And if you don't know, we're going to help you find out and write it down. So get your pad and get your pen because it's time to win with Lotus and Lynn right here at More News You Can Use. And I say more because Monday we had some news you could use, but today we're giving you a little more news you can use. Be right back. Hello and welcome back to More News You Can Use with Lotus Richey and Lynne Herod-DeVerges. We got another spectacular show for you that's going to help you climb to the next level of awareness. That's right. So thank you so much for joining the show today. That's right. You're here at More News You Can So I'm so happy that I'm not in the hot seat, but Lynn is. So, Lynn, you want to tell everybody who our wonderful guest is tonight?
Yes, I won't keep people in suspense any longer. This is Cheryl Walker. Cheryl is someone that I have known for many years. She actually is a scientific hand analysis expert. She also has many other talents and a real passion for creativity because she's also just a beautiful artist. Her work is extraordinary, and she may talk a little bit about that. But she's also someone who really believes in assisting people to not only find their life purpose, but to also be able to move into transcending, if you will, some of the challenges that people have in their lives, the lessons that they need to learn so that they can go to the next step. So, not only in hand analysis, but also a facilitator of something some of you may never have heard of, which is called constellations, constellation healing, as a matter of fact. Anyway, I'm not going to say anymore. Let's just bring out Miss Cheryl Walker.
Hello, 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 Miss Silent.
Hello, Cheryl.
So,
Good to see you. How
Good
are
to
you? And welcome to the show.
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm thrilled to be here.
All right, fantastic. So, Lynn told us so much about you, but I know that there's a lot more. So, can you tell us a little bit more about you? And folks out there, if you want to know a little bit more about her, put a number 3 in the comment block below, because once we get rocking and rolling, I'm telling you, you need to hold on tight. So, Cheryl, would you please tell us a little bit more about you and what makes you dynamite?
Thank you, Lotus. Lynn spoke about the thing that you would do if you didn't get paid for it. And that for me is making art. And I've been making art my whole life as a painter, as a writer, and as a teacher. And I would do it in a heartbeat. And that is why I'm here. And that has also led me to a lot of other disciplines and learning a lot about myself. And one of the things that really changed my life was the first time I had my hands read. It was in 2016. And I learned things about me, about myself and how I operate that I knew deep down inside, but I really hadn't admitted to myself. So once I stepped into that, I really became much happier and really want to share that path with other people. I think that's something that really shifted for me. I found that the information in my hands is really kind of a GPS. It's kind of a map to follow. And I love finding that with other people. And when I read other people's hands, I learn just as much about myself as I do about the other person, because we are all alike in so many ways. And yet it's our uniqueness that makes each one of us our own special selves. So it's both of those and all of that. Thank
that's
you.
that's wonderful. We know that you are such a talented person and always
Yes.
on fire.
Yes, you lit it up. You are on fire. So go ahead, Lynn. Say what you were gonna say, because we got people streaming in. Mary Jo, how you doing? She put in number 3.
Hi,
Dr.
Mary
Selena
Jo.
Pacino said, hey. And look, we got somebody else all the way from the Philippines. Ezekiel, good to see you all the way from the Philippines, because you know what? She is on fire.
Yes. Yes, she is. Yes, she is. And I do have to say, before we go into the hand analysis, that her artwork, whether it's a watercolor or pencil or oils, I don't know if you do oils. I don't remember seeing oils, but all of her work is really exquisite. So I just wanted to mention that. She just has some beautiful pieces. So Miss Cheryl, it's
But wait, excuse me. I'm so sorry. So she's a fabulous artiste. So I wasn't going to go there today, Cheryl, but before the broadcast ends, if you have a piece that you want to show or sell, please do indulge us. So now I've said what I needed to say. Now I'm going to get on out the way. Go ahead, Cheryl.
Thank you so much. And what I will say, I work in many different media, but a lot of it has to do with fluid movement. And
Yes.
I'm very interested in what the body has to say to inform us, which is also why I'm so interested in what the hands have to tell us specifically. But I'm interested in movement and I use watercolor and fluid media. I also work from a very quiet space as well as an interactive space, so it goes back and forth. And ultimately, it's an exchange. It's another language. It's another form of communication with the viewer, because sometimes things aren't as easily expressed in words, but we do both. So Thank you for asking.
Awesome. And no, we don't own the rights to that music, but this girl is on fire. And we say girl affectionately too, by the way. So yeah, Mary Jo said, hi, you are on fire. And Miss Love herself, good to see you.
Right.
Happy to have you here. So happy to have you here. Good to see you. And Angel Juan, good to see you.
I just made it. Wow.
Yes, awesome. And the remarkable Dexter, the money doctor himself, has his face in the place. So thank you so much, folks. So listen, you've talked to us a little bit about what you do as a hand analysis. And many of you that are just joining, if you don't know who she is a scientific hand analyst. Okay. Her name is Cheryl Walker. And Lynn just so graciously introduced her. But then Cheryl came and told us a little bit more about her. And so many of us are chomping at the bit because we want to know a little bit more about hand analysis, how it works, and also if you're going to see a little bit about that on this show. So we'll let you know. So I've got a quick question. And the reason why we're talking about hand analysis today is because we want to learn what our life's purpose is. And sometimes our very bodies will tell us what our life purpose is if we know how to read the signs and we just ask the questions. So that's what I thought, and that's what I knew. What about you, Lynn?
yes, the same thing, that our body does definitely tell who we are, where we're headed, where we've been,
Mhm.
and what our purpose is. What's the direction our life is taking? So, Cheryl, would you like to share with us exactly how you read hands and what you can read through hand analysis?
Well, there are a couple of ways to do a reading,
Mhm.
and often the most complex and most complete information comes from your hand prints. And you might print them out. It might look something like this, and get all the lines and the details there. But I can also tell from the shape of the hand and the distance between your fingers and some sort of things about the shape of your hands and the lines in your palms, other things that inform that. So there's usually a story that involves, and maybe some things you know are true, but there might be something that is standing in their way of your purpose, a particular challenge that might reveal itself through your hands. And your purpose often is what comes easily to you, but there are those other things that stand in your way and that you're not always conscious of. It might be something in your subconscious.
Ah, yes. And so,
So,
I'm sorry, go ahead, Lotus.
So yeah, I had a question because some people think that that's hocus pocus or witchcraft or something like that. Now, me working in law enforcement for many years, I know that it's not hocus pocus, nor is it witchcraft, because I know that even the police department, the CIA, FBI, all these law abiding companies, and even companies you work for say, guess what? We need a background check. And what do? They send us to get our fingerprints, because our fingerprints tell so much about us from, from what I know. But what about if someone says to you, Cheryl, that it's hocus pocus? What would you say?
Well, there's a long history about palm reading and with gypsies and so forth. And often in the past, healers have been discredited. And there really is a lot to say. I do fully acknowledge the palm readers of centuries past. And what scientific hand analysis does is take it a step further and brings it into the present day. We really look at the lines in your hands, and scientifically speaking, the lines in your hands mimic the neural pathways in your brain. It's literally how you're wired, how you work, the information about your operating system, and we use the information of the whole hand, your fingerprints, like you said, Lotus, and the fingerprints are so unique. That's why the FBI uses them to track us, because there are no two sets of fingerprints that are the same. There are similar characteristics, but each person's fingerprints are unique to them. And your life purpose is formed in your fingerprints, in your fingertips, from 16 to 18 weeks in utero. And that's when it comes into formation, and it never changes. And that's why we can be tracked through our fingerprints, but also we can take it a step further and learn a lot about our uniqueness from our unique fingerprints and whole handprint.
All right. I love it. And I just wanted to touch on that, because we want to let people know that this is based on fact and science, and it is verifiable and it is reliable. So with that being said, Lynn, I think you had another question before we go to break.
I do. I have another quick question. Cheryl, you said since the lines and the fingerprints, and that was interesting that you said our purpose is in utero, which I find absolutely amazing. But let's say someone has some kind of a challenge in their life, or maybe a trauma, an accident. Even let's say, and what I'm thinking of is like a brain injury trauma. Would the lines in the hands and the fingers change, particularly since the neural pathways of the brain would need to reconnect in different ways if there is damage to the brain? Would that show up on the hands in any kind of way, or at some point?
It depends on when the brain damage would occur, because the actual formation of the fingerprints is at 16 to 18 weeks. So if it happened before the 16 or 18 weeks, that would be most likely reflected in the handprints themselves. It's formed, and if it happened after that, there could be indicators, but it depends on when it happens in relation to the formation of the prints. But yes, it could have an effect, but it depends on the timing.
All right. Fantastic. So if you have a question, don't hesitate. Go ahead and put it in the comment block below, and we'll try to get to your question. But for now, we're going to take a quick break, because we want to give Cheryl a quick break, because I know you came out, you're on fire, and everyone is telling you you're on fire. So if you think she's on fire, go ahead and put a number 4 in the comment block below. A 4, F-I-R-E. A number 4 if you know Cheryl is on fire. Okay, so I'm already seeing some 4s coming in, and we have a question when we come back. We've got Henry Wall asking a question about how she does hand analyzation. Okay, so when we come back, Henry, we are going to answer that question. So we'll be right back. So go ahead and get your pen and your pad so you can take some notes, because she's going to share some secret sauce with us. Be right back. Hi, many people are looking for ways to enhance their business and expand their reach on social media. Well, if you're one of those people, look no further. Just join the StreamYard introduction on October 15th at 3 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time, hosted by Miss Ignite and Take Flight herself, Lotus Richey, and the visibility strategist, Miss Patricia Rogers, along with Randy Ward and Regeline Sabbath, as they host the StreamYard introduction. Get in front of the people that you want to be seen by to turn your leads into conversions. See you there. Remember, October 15th, 3 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. EDD time. Get your tickets on Eventbrite now. All right, and we are back, and as promised, Mr. Henry has a question. And look, we've got a whole bunch of fours coming in. People want to know the secret sauce. And Scott Herod is here. He says, "Hi, Cheryl. Great information and super fascinating.
Hi,
awesome." And then we've got Denise Simpson-Hurst all the way from Chicago. She said, "Hello from Mom and I." Mwah. Well, hello right back to you. So with that being said, we're going to go and grab Henry Wall's question. And he says, how she analyzed hands. So can you tell us a little bit about how you analyze hands? And do we have somebody out there that will have their hand analyzed? If so, go ahead and put in number 5, a number 5, and let us know. So Lynn May, go ahead and have her hands analyzed. And if you want to have your hands analyzed, go ahead and put a 5 in the comment block below, and I'll connect you to Cheryl, and she'll be happy to help you as well. So Cheryl, can you tell us a little bit about how you analyze people's hands?
Well, there are several key things we look at, and in the fingertips, there are 4 kind of families of markings. There are arches and loops, and there are whorls and spirals in your fingertips, and all of that is information, how complex they are. And also each digit, where the placement of the marking is. When you have a very complex mark, there's a way we go to see where it's placed on your hand. Each individual digit has a purpose. We call this the leadership finger, and then this is the responsibility finger. This is the creativity finger. This one's communication, and the thumb. The thumb itself tells us a whole lot just about where you hold your hand, and even the distance between how wide you hold your thumb open or if it's closed. So someone who holds their hand like this and it's really closed in, they might be really keeping to themselves. And someone who you might notice on TV that holds their hands like this with their thumbs wide open might be the CEO or a leader of a large company or country. And then there's everything in between. So somebody like this might be someone who runs a small business. So there's everything in between. Your thumb is what makes things happen. And also even the set of your thumb, how easily or how difficult it is for you to make things happen and what other things there are to compensate for it. So each digit gives us information about the strength of your value and your leadership, your creativity and your communication. That's a good start.
Wow. Awesome. So, and that's a lot. That's a lot that one can learn about themselves, especially in a short amount of time, when you can really sit with someone as yourself, who's a scientific hand analyst, and you can tell them so much about themselves, because after all, I think many of us want to know a lot about ourselves, but we just don't know the right person to get the knowledge from. So if you out there agree with what I've just said, go ahead and put a number 5 in the comment block below. Maybe you want to know some things about yourself, but you've never had the opportunity to meet a scientific hand analyst like Cheryl Walker that can help you find out more things about yourself. So we've talked about the fact that it's important for us to know our life purpose. And Lynne has shared with us what life purpose is and what it can mean to some of us. But we also know that sometimes learning about our life purpose is right in the palm of our hands. And so today, Cheryl Walker, she's a scientific hand analyst, for those of you that's just joining us, is going to do what she does right here for us and all of you. So, Cheryl, I think you're in the hot seat. We've got some folks putting some fives in there. They want to know what's going on. We have Hillary Gooden, the queen of the bounce herself. She's just a lovely lymphologist. Cheryl, she wants to know how you do what you do. And Mary Jo wants to know too. So can you tell us how you're going to use Lynne? Because Lynne said she would let you use her. Can you tell us what you're going to do and then go ahead and do it?
Are we going to use Lynne's hands as the go-to? Because the other people aren't able to put their hands on the screen so I can see them. Is that right?
Right. Because, I mean, Hillary has a little hand and heart up there, but we can't put it that well.
Okay.
And Mary Jo, you know, so, okay.
So I'm going to look at Lynne's hands, and this is very specific to Lynne, but I can share with you some of maybe the more general things. Okay. Full disclosure, I have read Lynne's hands from prints. So there are certain things that I remember, but also kind of the art of hand reading is tying all the pieces together. We take a few markings and we look for similarities and differences and pull it all together.
Okay, so what does that, like, the print look like? Do you have like a paper or something to kind of show us what it looks like for those who may not be familiar with it?
So when we take a hand print, we do this. I have special ink sheets, and you put your hand on it and you put it down, and every single thing, now this is just an example, this is an anonymous person, but every single thing where it prints or doesn't print, that's all information. And then we do a double check down with just each fingerprint and each digit, and that's where your purpose is in the actual print. But then in the palm, there's things like the top line is your heart line. I could actually do it better on my own hand, or Lynne's hand. We can do 3 main lines in your palms. We haven't talked much about that. But even the way your hand prints, there's information, because even though your purpose is never changes, moment to moment, the way when I do a reading from a print, that gives a lot of information about where you are right now and things that you might want to shift and change. And so 3 months, 6 months later, if you took another hand print, your hand might touch the paper differently, and there would be more information there. But still, the prints don't change, but sometimes the way you hold your hands changes and gives us good information.
So with no further ado, we are going to take a quick break, and Lynne and Cheryl, they're going to come back and do what they do. Okay, so we'll be right back. You can be a celebrity on the show with Lotus Richey and Lynne Herod-DeVerges with more news you can use. Just send us an email at lotus@gmail.com, and guess what? We'll contact you to have you be a celebrity on more news you can use. All right. I love it. I love it. I love it. So with that being said, I brought the camera up close so you can see Lynne's hands. Okay. So I'm going to move over and let them have at it.
Okay. Hi, Lynn. And the first thing I'm going to ask Lynn, is she right-handed or left-handed?
So basically, are you asking what hand do I write with most?
Yes.
I'm ambidextrous, but I write more often with my right hand.
Well, that is very interesting in and of itself that you use both hands. So we would look at the markings balancing each other out in both hands, yet you may have been trained to use your right hand, but just the fact that you use both hands is very important information. And I wouldn't normally or traditionally, your dominant hand is your in the world hand, and the other hand is more about yourself, your inward relationship to yourself, to your family. And the fact that Lynn uses both hands like that tells me that that's very balanced, that her relationship with herself and her relationship with the world is very balanced. Is that true, Lynn?
I'd say so.
Yeah. Yeah, and that what you do in a personal way affects what you do out in the world. Yeah, and notice Lynn's palms. She doesn't have very many lines. They're very clean. So she's very direct. There's not anything get in the way of what she's doing. There's a lot of information there, but some people have a lot more lines than that, but hers are very distinct. The topmost horizontal line in her hand is her heart line. And she has two heart lines, and where the heart line ends determines how much time you need with yourself and with other people. But I also know about Lynn that other people are very important. So again, her heart line reflects that she has a big heart, that it's not about Lynn, it's about other people. But yet what Lynn does for herself and balances herself is reflected in how she interacts with other people and what a giver she is. When she holds her hands, do you notice the long finger? We call that Saturn. She's waving Saturn. And Saturn is a lot about responsibility and value. And do you notice how both of her Saturn fingers are tipped towards her ring finger? Now, her ring finger we call Apollo, and Apollo is the creativity finger. And what that tells me is that her values and her responsibility are deferring to or leaning to creativity. That sometimes she might choose not to do the paperwork and go out dancing. Is that true, Lynn?
That's true. Absolutely.
So it's not that she's totally shirking her responsibilities, but that her values are very related to creativity. And one thing I do know about Lynn from reading her prints, we talked about life purpose, which is what you're really good at. And then there's something called your life lesson. And those are the things that might get in your way of living your life purpose. And Lynn is a very long time respected and well-regarded spiritual teacher and healer. And we know that that is her purpose. Her life lesson is that she may struggle with creativity. But look what we see from her values finger leaning to in both hands, leaning towards Apollo, towards creativity. And also what I do know about Lynn and what we talked about with her life lesson is that many of her clients and people she works with and her friends and people she knows like me are artists and musicians. So in a way, Lynn is living out her life lesson. She's mastered her life lesson with her relationship to creativity. And then in turn, it becomes her purpose. So she's a healer and a spiritual teacher and working with a lot of creative people. And so that is a wonderful example of the life lesson, what could be your greatest weakness turning into your greatest strength. And I always love that example about Lynne, because she's really living it fully in the master path of her life purpose as well as her life lesson. Now, Lynne, if you could spread your hands so a little bit so your thumbs aren't, well, what I do notice about both of her thumbs, see how they're very open, and Lynne is, the tips of her thumbs are very open, and she receives a lot of spiritual information in the crown. The tips, your fingertips, are actually synonymous with your seventh chakra or your crown chakra. So she's very open to receiving. I mentioned anything you want to say, Lynne, so far.
You're right on target. You're right on the money, and it's true.
How does it feel to hear that?
Huh?
How does it feel to hear that?
It feels good. It feels good. Yes. But
Yeah.
you know, I like growth, so I don't necessarily believe in good or bad. Just, you know, information is what it is, and you strengthen your weaknesses and you enhance your strengths, and that's what it is.
And very balanced, exactly. And even the fact that you're ambidextrous, it's not your you tend not to favor one over the other. Judgment is what gets us in trouble, labeling good and bad. But when you don't do that, it really levels the playing field, and your strengths become, your weaknesses can in fact become your strength, and everything works together. And as long as you know that about yourself, you can use it. We talked about the uppermost horizontal line in her hand as her heart line, and that's how she feels. She feels she's got a big heart. Her heart goes out to other people. The second line in her hand is called her head line, and that's how you think. And it comes, you notice, well, I can't point, but it's the second line. And then the third line is the lifeline, the one that wraps around her thumb. And she's got two very strong lifelines. And the lifeline is not how long you're going to live, but it really gives a lot of information about your stamina. And hers are very strong. She's got a lot of stamina, a lot of strength, and a lot of endurance. And do you, Lynne? You have?
I do.
And you don't sleep a whole lot. I know that about you. You're the ever-ready battery bunny all the time. And so you've got a lot of energy, and that is reflected in your lifeline. The other thing that is more rare that I notice in Lynne's right hand, do you notice that there's a space between her headline and her lifeline? And on the other hand, they're connected. So her left hand, they're connected, and this has to do with relationship to family and ancestry, and how tied we are to what has come before us and what we were sort of born into. But we always have choices. We always have choices. So Lynne, if we were to pick your dominant hand, your in the world hand, you would say that's your right hand, and that's the one where there's the separation. And in your left hand, that's the relationship to yourself. And you really are, family is really important to you. And that's where those two are connected. And they're not connected for a long distance, but it's a very significant connection, which is different from the space on your right hand. And we call that an independent headline. And there's only about 4% of the population that has independent headlines. And what that means is you do things differently than has been done traditionally.
Yeah.
And is that true? Can you say a little bit more about that?
Yes, I do. I call it sometimes rebelliousness.
Yep.
And also, I'm someone who always wants to know why, to get to the absolute core of everything. When other people are like, why do you need to know all that? I'm like, I just do. I like seeing to the middle of the core and beyond. So,
Absolutely. You want to know everything, and there's an independence in your, and so this is your right hand. This is how you interact with the world.
mhm.
And so you do have your own way of doing things, and you value your independence, and yet you are very professional and businesslike, and you have your own ways of doing business, the way I understand, and the way I've always worked with you, and your relationships to other people are extremely important. So that's a really nice example of it balancing your independence on the one hand, on your in the world hand, yet your loyalties to family, the importance of family, which is also reflected in personal relationships that are very important. Does that ring
That's
true?
Yes, absolutely true. Yes.
Can you think of an example of how is that true?
Okay, so I would say with students and clients, for example, I am a person who will give space, for development and growth and processing, but always there, and do stay very committed to when someone, is utilizing my services, or even just needs me sometimes at that 2 and 3 o'clock hour, for whatever is
Uh-huh.
going on. At the same time, the friendships that I develop are also, they're very sacred to me, and even closer, and they mean a lot. And there is a part of me that is, I call it almost like the mama bear spirit, where it's like, if you mess with anybody that I love, and that can be my students, my family, my friends, don't cross me. Don't cross them, because you'll cross me. And
Yeah.
that's, so there's a protective element there also, that's very, very strong, because, they mean so much to me.
Yeah. And the just you voicing how you give them space,
Mhm.
because you value space and freedom. That's very much the independent headline. You value freedom, so you give your friends and family and the people in your relationship with, you give them space, and you honor their individual points of view and give them as much space as you need. Yet that's what creates the strong tie, by
Mhm.
honoring both.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a really interesting balance between the two. And
Mhm.
then your big heart, how the importance of other people, that's what your heart line is telling us.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, I think we should stop there.
Okay.
People have gotten a great idea of how spot on and dynamic you are in this scientific hand analysis. So, as Lotus was saying, folks, it's not woo woo or palm reading. This is an actual scientific process. And you could see by what Cheryl was saying, and everything she was saying is absolutely spot on.
Thank you, Lynn.
Well, I agree with Lynn and Cheryl. I just have one thing to say to you.
What's that, Lotus?
And if you think she's on fire, put a number 7 in the comment block below. And we're about to take a quick break and come back and take some of the comments that all of you have placed in the comment book. We'll be right back.
Unity in Service will present an online masterclass, StreamYard. You will learn tips and strategies so that you can be seen in front of the masses, increase your bottom line, and build your credibility. Join us on October 15th, 2020, from 3 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. We look forward to seeing you at the event. I am Pat Rogers, your visibility strategist and CEO of Unity in Service, where people need people.
Awesome, awesome. And just so that you know, it's going to be wonderful. So if you haven't gotten your ticket, go ahead to Eventbrite, because only in this event will we be sharing some secret sauce. We will be sharing some info on a new company that is launching only in this event. If you're not in this event, you're not going to find out outside or on this broadcast about this event, and you may get some early bird gifts from this new company that's launching. So with that said, I've said all I need to say, because this girl is on fire. You have brought the flames in the house. And so let's look at some of the comments that we've gotten, because folks are really chiming in. So let's look at what Hillary said. Lynn?
She says, I will never see I will never see my hands the same. Yes.
Beautiful.
That's right.
Okay. Hey, Tandra Price, good to see you. Tandra Price said, wow. And Tandra, let us know where you're streaming in from. We want to know. So, yeah, and I got to tell you, Miss Hillary Gooden, I will never look at my hands the same way again either. And that's just amazing. So, Harris Tay said, Cheryl, how do we get our hands to you for analysis?
Well, if you contact Lotus, or I don't know if you're going to post my email, Lotus can get you in contact with me, and I'll send you a handprint kit. And that's where it starts, with instructions how to print your hand, and then you can scan it and upload it to me, and I can look at the computer. And if you have another way to make your prints, we can work on that. But I have a special sheet that makes a real clear print, FBI style, and that's how I prefer to work. This was like a sneak preview, looking at Lynn's hands just like that. But if you really want to know your purpose, we need the prints.
Yes. And all you've got to do is hit me up and send me an email. Say, hey, Lotus, I saw this remarkable. That's right. Make sure you put remarkable, because this girl is on fire. I keep saying it. I saw the remarkable Miss Cheryl Walker on your show, the scientific hand analysis expert on your show, and we want to get our prints. And I say we, because you don't have to do this by yourself. Go ahead and get your family and your friends in, and just maybe she may give you a discount on the hand analysis. Hit me at lotusignites@gmail.com. That's lotusignites@gmail.com. 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 And make sure you get in touch with Cheryl, because I got to tell you, I don't let people look at my hands, but Cheryl looked at my hands and she was spot on. So with that being said, we're going to take a couple more comments, okay? I see Hillary Gooden said remarkable. And we've got Nanette Sanchez. Hey, Nanette, where you coming in from? Good to see you. She says, hello, everyone. And also we have Mary Jo. She said, Cheryl, how do you know what Lynn's purpose is? Great question. So you want to share that with us, Cheryl?
That's a really great question, Mary Jo. I have read Lynn's hands through her prints. So I know that her purpose is in her fingerprints, and I've seen them, and I've done the kind of the math and the combination of which markings are on what fingers. And that's how I know that she's a spiritual teacher and a healer.
Awesome. Awesome. I love it. And who else do we have, Lynn?
Toyomi Stroh. Hello, Toyomi, all the way from Torrance, California. Good to see you. And Sashiko DeVerges.
Hi, Sashiko.
Happy Friday. Also from Torrance, California. What's up, cuz? And of course, Harris Tay. You look like Walter Mercado there, Lynn. And Henry, this is so spot on. Thank you, Henry. I love this palm analysis. Well, it's more of a hand analysis, but thank you very much.
All right. And so many folks do want to connect with you. Of course, we've got a lot of sevens there. So make sure you connect with me. Go ahead and send me your email. Send me your email. Let me know that you want to get in touch with her, because let me tell you, there's no time like the present time. If you really want to get to know you better, you have to invest your time in yourself and invest in you. And Cheryl will help you do just that. So we've got some other comments. So Dr. Selena Pinashimo said, very interesting practice. I like that. Okay. And all right, I saw that one. So I want to make sure I get as many people as I possibly can. Okay. Nanette is coming in from Snyder, Texas. So great to have you repping on Texas. Thank you so much. And she said, oh, wow, what does she do? Hands. So if you're just coming in and you've missed a little bit about the broadcast, go ahead, make sure you share, like, start a watch party, share, like, start a watch party, like, share, start a watch party, like, share, start a watch party, run and tell somebody that we have this magnificent scientific hand analyst here, Miss Cheryl Walker. And tonight she's been talking to us about the primary reason why we got together. What is your life's purpose? And sometimes if we don't know our life's purpose, sometimes the answers is already in our hands. But if we don't know how to get the answers from our hands, we just don't know where to start following our life's purpose. So that's one reason why we have this wonderful scientific hand analyst, Miss Cheryl Walker here. So with that being said, I want to go ahead. Hey, Pamela Luhing, coming all the way from Dallas, Texas. Great to see you. And don't forget, Pam's launching one of her new projects and products this coming Monday. So you don't want to miss. Don't sleep on Pamela Luhing all the way from Dallas, Texas. And don't forget, thank you, Angela, like, share, and start a watch party and run and tell somebody. So with that being said, I want to ask, okay, we've got another question. If you missed the beginning, be sure to watch the replay. Thank you, Angie. Thank you so much. So, Lynn, I think you may have had another question. I know we're at the top of the hour and we're working Cheryl hard for the money, so hard for the money. We're working her. So, Lynn, did you have another question that you wanted to share?
The another question I do have actually is, because we've talked about all these different aspects you can tell in your hands. What about a person's health? Can you determine, or is a person's health determined also by the hand analysis?
You can tell, and this is reflected where I said, how the hand touches the page.
Mm-hmm.
And for example, if the center of the hand, I can just show you on this one, I have no idea whose this is, but see how there's this light area in the center of the palm?
Yes.
We call that the cup of tears. And that means that this person is experiencing grief. And sometimes that's bigger than others. And also, if there's an injury or something reflected, that has an effect on how your hands print. So these here, where it doesn't, I'm going right, left, okay. Where there isn't a connection, there's a little shaky foundation right there in that person's hand. And also in the thumb, when the thumb doesn't completely, remember this is your manifestation hand, your manifestation finger, that really tells how clear a plan you have. So this person has a little bit of a plan, but it might not be all that clear.
Ah, okay.
So health can show up in terms of how your heart line prints. I know if there's a space below Apollo, like right here, if it doesn't print on your heart line, that can give an indication of, if you're not following your purpose, that perhaps your heart is a bit weaker. If you're not living from your heart. And I can say from personal experience that when I'm not making as much art as I need to be, that sometimes my heart line doesn't completely print. So that's just as valuable as the lines themselves. So it does, and it can reflect health. Oh, another one is how worn out you are too. If you're overextended, this area shows this person it's pretty clearly printed, but that's another one that can show strain on the body.
Ah, okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I love that. I really love that because it's critically important that we know those things. So, as many of you know, we asked Cheryl Walker because Lynn put her in the hot seat about her art. So, we're going to take a quick break because we're at the top of the hour. And we typically close our show at this time, but we've had so many great questions from you, our viewers and supporters. And Lynn was so kind to show her hands, and Cheryl was so kind to give her an excellent reading and really identify some key points on the hands. So we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back for some last questions. And for you, Ms. Sanchez, I got your message, and we will be sending you Ms. Cheryl Walker's information as soon as the broadcast is over, if not sooner. But for now, we're going to take a quick break and come back for some final questions and some closing remarks. We'll be right back. If you've not gotten your ticket to the Leadership Summit, the next level Leadership Summit, what are you waiting for? Hosted by Saccone Prince, emceeing by Wendell Graham, Dr. Ruben West will be teaching outer leadership, along with Wesley Green teaching corporate leadership. Billy Boyer will be training on organizational leadership. And Mr. Unstoppable, Terrence Leffridge, will be training on male leadership. The remarkable Monique Tucker will be training on female leadership. And of course, Frederick Robinson, youth leadership. And to turn it up a notch is the phenomenal DJ Michael Freeland, DJ Mike. So make sure you get your ticket to the Next Level Leadership Summit starting now. All right. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So we are back. And of course, for those of you that may just be joining us, Lynn and I have had the remarkable pleasure of having the wonderful scientific hand analyst, Miss Cheryl Walker, on the show. So if you missed the show a little bit, go ahead and hit the replay button and like, share, and start a watch party and go tell somebody it's time to understand their life's purpose. And sometimes we can find our life purpose right in the palm of our hands. And Cheryl Walker has showed us some ways how. And if you want to learn how to figure out your life purpose from finding out what's in the palm of your hands, don't forget, hit me up at lotusignites@gmail.com and I'll put you in connection with our wonderful scientific hand analyst, Cheryl Walker. So with no further ado, we're going to kick it right back to you, Cheryl, to have some final remarks and words of wisdom.
Oh, thank you so much, Lotus and Lynn, for having me here. I love this work, and I love getting to know each of you a little better through our hands. And I think it really provides a wonderful connection. It's not just knowing about ourselves, but it's knowing what connects us to other people that I think is so important, especially in these times, because we can't do it ourselves. We need each other. And that's why we're all here. And I can't thank you enough for having me. It's been a pure joy. And I've just enjoyed my time here so much. And I can't thank you enough.
Well, thank you so much. And Cheryl, you've been amazing. Mm-hmm. And if you would Indulge us. We have one more question for you from one of our viewers out of Washington, D.C. And Pamela out of Texas says, this is very interesting. Well, we got two questions, but if you only want to take one, I'm going to give you one. And yes, Hillary, we do need each other. That's an excellent point that you made, Cheryl. So one of the questions is, can your hand analysis reflect a disability?
Without knowing what the disability, it's in the hands somewhere. It's going to be in the hands, whether it's in the headline or it would show up in different ways in different people. But yes, most likely it would. I can't say exactly where because it would be different for different people. But the heart line is a good example. And also how a person thinks, that's in your headline. It really, really depends, but it's there.
So folks, thank you, Scott. He said, excellent show from 3 Dynamite Ladies. Thank you so much. We appreciate you, Scott. And one final question, if I may. Someone's going real deep, and we're going to have you back on the show, Cheryl. Would you come back on the show with us soon?
I would love that, Lotus.
Okay, so fantastic. Because this is an amazing topic. And if you want Cheryl back on the show, put some 8s in the comment below. If you want Cheryl back on the show, put some 8s in the comment below. And this is the final question of the night. Here we go. This question is from Angela Elting. She already asked that, but she had this question. She wants to know if the person is loca de la cabeza, will it show up? So what part of the hand reflects a person's mental state? See if they're inteligente or if they're loca de la cabeza.
Well, when you refer to mental state, you're referring to how a person thinks as opposed to how a person feels. And that would be the middle line in your hand. We looked at the uppermost line was the heart line, and that's how you, where's my example? Well, it doesn't, but the uppermost line is your heart line. That's how you feel. And the second line through, we talked about Lynne having an independent headline separate from her lifeline. The lifeline is the one that curves around, but it's that central line and the length of it. And if it's curved or if it's straight, if it's curvy, usually means you're really emotional. If it's, but even, and how long it is, how long a conversation you like to have. And if you need to, if you take things in short amounts, that would be reflected in a short headline. There's all kinds of information right there. And like I said, if it's curved or straight, if you're a logical thinker or more emotion, and sometimes those two lines can be connected into one line. And so everybody's different. Everybody's different.
Wow.
Yeah.
You brought the fire with you tonight. And I keep saying it because it's just so it's just the truth. So thank you so much. So with no further to do, we are going to take a quick break, and Lynn and I, we're going to come back and we're going to tell you what's coming up next on this coming Monday show with more news you can use with Lynn and Lotus. And Mary Jo, we want to thank you so much because she said, thank you, Lotus and Lynn and Cheryl.
Thank you, Mary Jo.
Yep. So we are coming right back, and we're going to tell you a little bit about who's coming up on the next show. You just might be surprised. Should I play this for them? Yeah, maybe I should. Here we go. All right, Lynn. Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Cheryl. Woo!
She's good.
She is great. She is great. Yes, Mary Jo, I took your word. I just saw it too. But she is great. Yes. And yes, Harris, she bought the house down. Cheryl bought the house down. Hillary said, great show. Amazing, amazing. So, Lynn, tell us a little bit about what we're doing next week, because I know we got a fabulous show coming up next week with some folks that's just going to rock the house as well.
We do. On Monday, we have Karen Sneed, and we also have Miss Hillary Gooden, Queen of the Bounce. And we're going to be talking about 65 and alive after a stroke. So we're going to really be touching on some very key things in terms of not only health, but what one can do to bring themselves back from a place where you might have been on the brink or know someone who is, and you want to bring them back more to what? Homeostasis as much as possible, and that quality of life. And so we'll be talking about that on Monday. And I just want to give a cheers to Cheryl. I don't know if she had her Azumio, but we do need to cheers to Cheryl.
Yes, cheers. All right, so go ahead and pop it open.
That's
pop
right.
It open? You want to pop it open? Come on, we haven't had our...
Great job. Thank you, Cheryl.
I should go backstage and see if she's back there with her Azumio. I wonder if she's got some.
She might be. Let's go
see if I can go and get her.
Is she still here?
Let me see. I can see. Hold on a second. Let me see. Cheryl? Hold on a second. I'll be right back. Let me go see if Cheryl. Cheryl, are you there? Can you come out?
Yep, I'm here.
I'm here. You got it. All right.
Two of you. I've been sipping on this the whole time.
Yes.
All right. And for those of you that don't know, we drink Azumio water. Why? Tell them, Lynn, why we drink Azumio water.
We drink Azumio water because it's great for our health. It is really the tastiest water because it tastes like real water. It doesn't have any plasticky taste or chemical taste because it's just pure water with hydrogen. And that hydrogen always gives us more energy, more stamina, and really helps us be the best we can be.
Exactly. And look, folks, this is our disclaimer. We are not medical doctors, so please consult with your physician prior to taking any supplements or doing any exercise. And I got to say that because Monday, the Queen of the Bounce is coming back. And for those of you that have jumped on board with your health and are losing inches, pounds, and also are bringing your body back to, what's that word, Lynn?
Homeostasis.
It's your time to get with Lotus Lynn and our guests and unwind because we're going to have a great bouncing time. So with that being said, I thank each and every one of you for joining us today. Please don't forget, like, share, start a watch party, and run and tell somebody about our fabulous guest that we had here today, the scientific hand analyst, Miss Cheryl Walker. And until we meet again, run and tell a friend. Why? Because friends help friends win. So we'll see you next week. Have a good night. Be sure to join more news you can use with Lotus Roche and Lynne Herod-DeVerges as our next guest on Monday will be Karen Sneed and the Queen of the Bounce, Hillary Gooden. We'll see you